It is normal to feel overwhelmed by the data science field. I had just finished giving a big data lecture to a group of university students, and as I was packing up all of my stuff and the students were, leaving the classroom to go and have lunch, one of the students slowly approached me. She was the front row kind of student. She was always asking the hard questions about why do we use this algorithm, how do we use it, what are the edge cases. I regarded her as the joyful, curious, and rigorous future graduate data scientist. As we were the only two left in the room, she raised a challenge she was struggling with. She accepted an internship to build advanced AI and machine learning models to do region detection on medical images, but she never dealt with this type of problem and she felt anxious because she didn't know how to start. And so she asked me the $10 million question. Do you know a machine learning model that can solve this? But to be totally honest, even I don't follow a lot of the news in vision AI, so I don't really know about the ecosystem. I've worked for 10 years in the data science industry, and even for me, sometimes the ecosystem moves so fast that I'm not able to keep up with the news. Years ago, Hugging Face were only doing NLP transformers, and now they're also dealing with vision problems and audio problems, and how am I going to quell her fear of the unknown if even I don't know the technical answer to a problem? So to solve the problem, I grabbed a marker and whiteboard, and then I started drawing on the whiteboard while asking her questions about the problem. What's the format of the images, and how do you expect to store them? What kind of data and labeling issues do you expect to get? How would you measure the performance of the model? Are you okay with having your model detect more false positives and then you'll have to skim in those? How would you solve the problem without machine learning but only using, color contrast or image processing? I'm going to put that down. And as she slowly deepened her understanding of the problem, she realized she actually had dealt with this kind of problem before. She worked on, the MNIST dataset with the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Well, she studied that, but totally forgot about it. Because, you forget everything you do at uni. But she documented her thoughts about the problem and her struggles and the different solutions that she heard about. And even if the solutions cannot be reused because the data is very different, she could at least visualize a roadmap for a problem. And her anxiety about the problem dropped a bit because she now visualizes the journey inside the problem, and she knows on each step of the journey what kind of algorithms I'm going to search for. Data science and machine learning are inherently problem solving with data and algorithm skills. And it is normal to feel uncomfortable not knowing the magic AI solution to your problem. I actually don't believe there's a magic AI bullet to any problem. You just need to open a Kaggle competition and see the diverse number of solutions in the top 20. The fun is in the process of peeling each layer of complexity to the problem. And to practice it, we need to build, read, and re-implement as many data science and machine learning use cases as you can. The more use cases you work on, and the more used to the data science methodology you get. Those questions that I ask my students to deepen our understanding of the problem, where those are very common and recurring questions that you will see across all of your data science use cases. And the more you practice it and the more you develop your own way of working the data science problems. And it's getting easier and easier to navigate the process and even trust the process because you're doing this methodology, so you trust that you're going to get a good result at the end. And the more side projects you deal with and the better your problem solving skills get, because I've done this project 4 years ago, let me check it out again. Don't hesitate to try other methods, other data scientist methods that you can see on the Kaggle forums or on Stack Overflow on your own data and problems. Document everything. And this is the very first advice I was given at work. 10 years ago there was no Docker, it was all virtual machines, so I had just created a cluster of virtual machines with Hadoop installed in there, and I knew I was the only one in the company doing some Hadoop stuff. So one of my senior developers looked at me and told me
I want to be able to rerun the whole project by copy-pasting every command from the README.
I've actually done that ever since. This advice saved me multiple times. Document all of your thinking as much as possible in a side project wiki. Make your project reproducible, which means it is easy to download back the data, it is easy to reinstall the project, and it is easy to rerun the project. All should be documented in a README so that your 5 years later future self just has to read the README and 5 minutes later the project is running. To reinstall the project, there's the requirements.txt file with all of the versions pinned for each dependencies that you're using. You can use tools like pip tools to generate this file. All of the notebooks are sorted in their own folder, all of the scripts are in another folder, and you've got all of the entry points and commands to run the script are documented in the README. One of my favorite examples of this is the data science cookie cutter project that you can go around and dig into. And whatever people say about the code being the documentation,
Don't believe them.
if you need to browse your code for more than 5 minutes to understand how to run it and the conditions to run this code, then you wasted a lot of time and energy. Do yourself a favor, invest in documentation that will save you 5 years later. And to insist on this advice, 3 months later, another colleague gave me the same advice, a little bit more harsh.
If you get hit by a bus, I want to be able to rerun your project anyway.
Don't try to master everything at once. If we are being real, there's so many things to learn in the data science world. Data collection, feature engineering, model validation, model training, model deployment, and there's even more to learn if you need to look into mathematics behind the scenes of each of those steps. So yes, you need to have a grasp of each of the steps in the process, but it will take years to master the full process. Take it like learning a new language or learning a new musical instrument. Like, wait, let me show you. I'm currently trying to learn jazz piano. There's so many things to learn. You need to learn the notes. You need to know chords. You need to know your scale. You need to know your fingerings. You need to know rhythm. You need to know chord progression. You need to know different chord voicings. Anyway, you cannot master all of it. I have done my little piano session, I'm kinda happy. But see that it's something that you need to practice every day for years to be able to master. So don't be too hard on yourself, it takes time. And for each of your machine learning side projects, try to improve one aspect on which you didn't dig into. Like, today I'm going to try this new feature engineering technique, or today I'm going to try and deploy my model in Docker, so I'm going to try and learn Docker. Consistency beats intensity on this one. And this is why it's also good to check out websites like Kaggle Community. There's so many users that are giving a lot of hints on things that you can practice and improve later, so keep an eye on this. And even if you don't do Kaggle competitions, I don't do Kaggle competitions, for example, I only play with Kaggle datasets and read community posts sometimes. And that's okay. Your only goal is to get better every day and not to be the best at Kaggle. Except if you plan to be a Kaggle Grandmaster and put it on the resume. And for this, go for it. Don't listen to me. Teaching. Communication is a very underrated data science skill. Being able to break down complex, abstract ideas on machine learning and data science to an audience that has no clue what you're talking about is one of the best ways to make sure that you've completely understood the problem. We've had conflicts with people that did not believe in machine learning. I mean, why do you need machine learning if you can use a rules engine and a human to add rules every day to have the behavior that you want, instead of expecting a machine learning model that you don't know how it works, it's all black box, to learn everything by itself? And sometimes it is true. In any case, you need to be able to explain to that person why the machine learning job is important to at least complement the rule engine. And this is where, for me, tools like Streamlit really shine, because this is where you can actually build a story about your data science problem, explain each step of the process, have your colleague or customer play with the sliders and the parameters and explain how, you know, this is more human than expected, this feature engineering was done by a human. You know, you can try and control the number of false positives using the threshold of your model. It's more complex than just saying machine learning is a black box that nobody understands. And teaching somebody that does not believe in machine learning to change the beliefs of that person, I think this is the greatest tool you have in hand. The hardest job of a data scientist. Politics. When you build a machine learning side project, don't hesitate to write a blog post about it or record a YouTube video. You don't even have to post it publicly. You can put it on private. Maybe you will need it later, like in 5 years. Machine learning is just a tool. As long as you understand that data science is problem solving with data and algorithms, machine learning is just a tool in your toolbox. And sometimes a rule engine will do the trick. Sometimes Python programming will do the trick. And sometimes a good PostgreSQL database will solve your computation better than your Spark or Python skills. So get in the mindset of growing your toolbox little by little. Read about more Python packages, and you can go as far as going outside the data science realm to learn about other concepts. 1 year ago, I started writing TypeScript code to build streamlit components, and that's where I realized I loved the way TypeScript manages types. And tells me your variable here doesn't have the correct type, and I didn't do that in Python at all. And ever since I've dealt with TypeScript, I try to add typing to almost of my Python code. I'm not going as far as running MyPy to check that my variables have got the correct types, and I feel that doing TypeScript has improved my Python. So don't hesitate to grow outside of your data science comfort zone. Do some Java. You may hate it, but you will learn. Enjoy the journey. You still get uncomfortable on data science problems with a lot of uncertainties, and the libraries you're using, they're improving every 2 months, and there's new features that you want to try but don't have time to. But the more you practice, the more side projects you build, the more languages you try, and the more confidence and tools you're able to use to ride this uncertainty. And one last thought, and you know, it's not always about the big data companies. There are a lot of people in multiple industries that have little to no data literacy and are only waiting for data people like you to help them solve their problems and grow their businesses. So try to have a look at those, and maybe some of them don't even realize they need a data engineer, a scientist or analyst, and etc. So be there to help them too. And even if you grow bored of data science and want to change career path, the skills you grow in data analysis are evergreen. You will be able to reuse them everywhere. Welcome to the data journey. It's going to be a long one. Enjoy the ride. Thank you for listening. This is actually a longer version of some advice that I gave in an ebook that was just released by my good Twitter friend Susanna or AI Flavors. You can check it out in the description. This is my second appearance in a book, and both of them thanks to Twitter. In any case, if you want to learn more about Streamlit, you can also check this video. I'll see you around, data scientist on the rise. Bye!